everybody, it's Megan and welcome to my page, or welcome back. Join me today while I talk about my 2026 bookish goals and work on my reading journal. All right, let's start off January 1, the only way a book girl knows how, getting my reading journal going for my first read of the year. I got this as an ARC, The Secret Courtesan by Carrie Chaput? Sorry if I'm saying that wrong. So I start every process in the scrapbook room here because, as you may remember, I always have a little background. I haven't printed the picture out for that one yet. So I'm sitting here, and I think I'm going with this kind of incandescent flowers to go with the flowers on the cover. So let's go do my reading journal and talk about some 2026 goals. All right, so I am in my living room. I have my book journal. I have my book because I need to reference colors. And then I have this bag of tricks, which has my stencils and tons of marker pen situation. So I'm going to pick colors, pick stencils, and then start. But first, before I do that, I wanted to show you what I have set up for my 2026, which I just finished. So this is where I'm going to write down the titles of my books. It's a sticker, and then I just did the background. Our library does a winter reading challenge, so you can either do a bingo style or you can submit 5 books, and you get a mug from the library, which I think is freaking awesome every year. And then I was trying to find a reading challenge, and I found Beat the Backlist. So I printed out their bingo card and decorated it. And then I'm going to write the titles of the books that I read to go with the bingo card. I'm going to use some stamps here and then write it here. And then I thought it'd be fun to track my genres this year. So I got a ton of stamps. I'll get those out at the end, I guess, and show you. And I'm going to stamp each book based on what the genre is. And then you may notice I have some leftover space here. One of my friends, Brittany, had a great idea for her journal that she was going to print out little tombstones, and if she DNFs the book, she's gonna write the DNF on a tombstone. So I left some space on this page as well as my last 2 pages there. So that's my journal. I'm gonna start. There's my paper. So I'm gonna go ahead and start. And my goal for 2026 is 52 books. Let me pick out some stencils, and I'll be right back. So I bought this whole stencil kit, which I don't use a whole lot of it because I just buy a sticker instead of fighting with that, but maybe 1 year. And then it has like each month has some things. So I sometimes use the month to put at the top of the page. Doesn't always happen. Here's January's. We'll see what I feel like when I get there. But right now I am I was looking for this the other day. I knew I had another one. So I have that one that I may use. I don't know how it got lost in the middle there. And then I have a couple choices for letters. Not those. Yeah. So based on the text of the book, I try to sometimes decide which one I want to use. The front of this book is kind of your basic lettering. So I think I'm going to use this one because I haven't used it in a while. But I do try to change it up. I need to probably get some more stencils, but it's kind of hard actually to find some different like fonts of stencils that's not like big stencils. Now the fun part. I have oranges, I have a blue, I have some pinkish red on the cover. Obviously can't use white on white paper, but let's see here. This is a giant pile of pens. And I tried to match it to give it a vibe that kind of goes with the book. And I've used a lot of red lately because I've done a lot of Christmas reads. So I'll probably pick, like this blue goes with the cover pretty well. And then I might go, it doesn't look like I have a pink that I particularly well. Let's see what color this is. That may be not a bad one. Maybe too light. This is such a hard task. I feel like I have used orange a lot lately. Let's go back and, well, it's a new year. It's a new year. It doesn't freaking matter what colors I use, really, but it just matters to me. So yeah, I just used orange. So I'm definitely thinking the blue. Ooh, maybe this color. Ooh, this is like a mauve-y pink. Let's see. Oh yeah, that's it. Okay, so we have this cover here with these pens. So like I said before, my goal is 52 books, which is a book a week. If I don't make it, that's okay. I feel like a lot of times people get really hung up on their goal, right? They start like panic reading at the end of the year. And you know what? Sometimes you just aren't in the mood to read. And that is 100% okay. And I don't think sometimes in the bookish community we talk about that enough. And I think it's important that we talk about it because it affects all of us. And I think if we're realistic in what we're reading, what we're talking about and how we talk about reading, it just makes everybody have like a better relationship with reading. Because I never want it to be a chore for myself. I want it to be something that I come home from work and that I really love to do. And when it feels like it's becoming a chore, that is when I give myself a reading break. And I may take a week where I go, okay, I'm not reading anything this week. Or I'm going to read, but I'm only going to read, a handful of, I just did this backwards for the second time. I normally do the title first, and because on my last page I screwed up and did author first, so now I've screwed up twice. But it's not really a screw up because, again, it's my journal and no one cares. But I'm going to try to remind myself for the next book that I want the title first, not the author. I do hope to get through more of my backlist this year because I have a ton. I need to get my shelves under control, and I need to cull some of my books. We all I say we all because I feel like it's all of my friends and I say the same thing over and over again. We love our shelf trophies, even if they're not fancy, right? We like having the full bookshelves, and I think I know I need to get rid of some of mine. So that is important goal for the year, to clear some of my bookshelves of books I'm just not going to read, or books that I'm not going to reread. I committed last year to using the library more for book club books or like Christmas romance that I knew I wasn't going to reread. I always buy Jenny Bayliss because she's my favorite Christmas author, so I always will buy her copies. And I bought the Hannah Grace. But a lot of the Christmas books I read this year, I actually either already owned or I got as ARCs, which was great. But I tried really hard to not buy a lot of Christmas romance because odds are I'm not going to reread them. Now, the Jenny Bayliss books, I have all of them. I think I may be missing one. But I buy hers every year. That's like a tradition for myself. So I don't really count that one. But I think I did a good job. So that's part of my goals this year. It's 52 books and culling some of my shelves and reading what's on my shelf, more of what's on my shelf. It's hard because I always am envious of the people who do like really cool TBR games and can like do the TBR jar and be like, yeah, I'm going to read this book because it's what I pulled out of the jar. I'm a mood reader. And all I would do was put that book right back in the jar and be like, not what I'm in the mood for. And then I would just keep drawing until I got the one I wanted. So it's just better for me to just go to my shelf and just pick the book up. Because that way I'm reading what I want versus what I feel like I'm supposed to be reading. And that's important to me. Also, I try to not get caught up in the buzz of books sometimes. Now, there are authors that I'm here for the buzz. Abby Jimenez, anything Allie Hazelwood, Man, if Deborah Harkness gave us another book, I would just about die of excitement. That's Discovery of Witches, for those who don't know. I'm not anticipating her having a book this year, but you never know. She surprised us last year or the year before with Butcher and Blackbird, so I will be pleasantly screaming excited if we do get another book from her, but I'm not anticipating one this year. What else as I ramble here? I don't know. This is very like therapeutic to me. Normally I'm actually listening to a podcast, but I thought I would record, and I'm sorry it's shaky. It's because I'm on this table that lifts up. And so I have my little tripod that I clearly probably need to buy a better tripod. But this is one that was really cheap and got here quick, and that's what mattered. But it does make my videos a little shaky when I should have sat at the kitchen table because that table wouldn't have moved as much. But the kitchen table's not comfortable. And it's New Year's Day. I'm in my PJs still. And I don't want to get off this couch until I have to. But I did have to get up to get my reading journal. And I did clean up my Christmas. So that's always good starts. And then... oh, this pen might be too... oh, no, it's okay. This pen may be dying. Oh, no! Hang on, let's see. Okay, maybe not. May just be a weird... okay, I'm not fighting with that pen for the next couple days, so let's find a new one. Because I don't like that one. Where was that other... ah! I really like that color, though, with the blue. But not worth fighting with the pen. Because every time I go to read, I'll be like, oh, I gotta fight with that damn pen. And that's just not worth it. So we're gonna switch colors. I'm not sure that's any better, actually. This better not be how 2026 goes. I'm about to get some white out. I think I'm gonna get white out. I'll be right back. White out acquired because that was gonna drive me crazy. And I could not have my 2026 first entry go looking like that. Okay, so now we gotta really find a different pen. I may have to go to orange because I don't think I have a deep enough red. Oh, I do. Oh, that would look nice together. Change of plan. I think I'm gonna use... no, that doesn't really match. JK. Who knew that the hardest part would be picking a pen color? I mean, I probably should have known that about myself. Ooh. That could be a good... that could be a good brown. Kind of like a tannish brown. That has potential. Yes, I have two different pens. My friend Emily got me these because she knows I reading journal, and then these are ones I bought. I like these because they're double-sided. I like Emily's pens too. Yep, okay, that's the one we're going with. Because I don't think I want to do blue and a green. Or do I? Ooh, I have a really dark green. With that dark blue. Ooh. Ooh, this color. It's like army green. Yeah, that may be the winner. Okay. Sometimes you just gotta think it through. With this blue. Yeah, okay. I'm liking it, I'm liking it. Sometimes we have to pivot. Pivot! Everything's fine, it's fine. Okay. Let's try this again, shall we? Of course. course, it looks a little funky on the whiteout, but that's okay. Okay, I think we're in good shape here. Now, except if I could learn to spell, that would help. This is why I can't do multiple things, like reading, journal, and talk at the same time. Because you make mistakes. Okay, so we have title, we have author, and then we're gonna do pages here in the middle. Yep, I'm pretty sure. Let's make sure. Sometimes not. Sometimes I go. Actually, I might go off to the side a little bit this time. Sometimes I try to leave some space for just like little funsy, like drawings. Or if it's like a spicy book, I will try to leave space for a spice rating. That doesn't always happen because, as you know, you don't format things the same way every time. And so sometimes the wording is just in the weird space and there's just not enough space. But other times I'll be like, oh, I have a lot of space down there. Let me write something extra about the book. Other than reading goals, I guess we can talk about that. One of my goals for my YouTube channel is that I'm gonna post 2 shorts a week and 1 kind of longer length a week. And 1 month of the year, or 1 week of every month, that's the better way to say it, I'm going to do a page to screen comparison of a new or old movie that I've read the book, or if the movie's new, I typically will watch the movie then read the book because I hate when I've read a book too recently and the book is so fresh that I cannot enjoy the movie because I'm like, this is wrong and this is wrong and this is wrong. So the first one I'm gonna do is People We Meet on Vacation, and that'll be next week after. So I'll watch the movie. I have not read the book yet. It's actually right over there on my shelf. So I'm gonna watch the movie and then read the book and do a video comparison of things that I liked that were different or things that I'm mad that are different. So that'll be fun and a new challenge for me. And I read a lot of adaptations, and I told my bestie Rachel, I said, hey, I was thinking I would do this for my page, and she's like, that is such a great idea because you were such a movie person and a book person, and that sounds fun. So that's one of my goals for the channel, not just for reading goals. Sorry, I had to stop and think out loud. Except I just literally forgot. See, this is what? I think it's 328. 329. Just kidding. So that'll be fun for all of us. My goal for the page, I'm going to just, like I said, post more consistently. And not be as, like, formal with it. I feel like when I try to make it overly formal, I lose my own voice. I used to be on a podcast with some friends of mine. So I kind of slip back into podcast voice sometimes, which is great when you're on a podcast. But I feel like for my YouTube, it loses a little bit of my personality sometimes. And that's not fun. It sounds too formal and no one wants to hear me sound like a formal reviewer, I don't think. I think people like when the people that they're watching and listening to are more authentic. So that's one of my goals, is to not lose my own voice in my in my videos, because I think it's important. That's why. No other reason. I don't know. Tell me if I'm wrong. If you guys are like, please just sound like a reviewer and don't try to just talk to us. But I like listening to reviews when it sounds like my friend is telling me about the book versus like a talking head telling me about the book. So I don't know. So after I do the page count, Then I do dates, because I write when I start the book and when I finish the book. And sometimes that's helpful. Sometimes it's just for fun. You can really tell when I got stuck in a reading slump, because it'll be like 2 weeks to read a book that should have taken me a couple of days. And so sometimes that tells me one of two things. I didn't enjoy the book and I probably should have DNF'd it. Or maybe I was not in the mood for that genre and I should have switched. I do read a lot of romance, and so sometimes I think you just get tired of romance. I love romance, don't get me wrong. And some people never get tired of it. Totally fine with that too. But I think I sometimes get tired of it. And instead of just saying, hey, why don't I read a true crime, or why don't I read a nonfiction, or whatever it may be, I just try to like muster through, and then it takes me longer to read the book and I don't enjoy it as much. And then that's just not kind of a fair review of the book. Well, it could be a fair review. It could be a fair review that it should have been a DNF. And maybe I'll make a point of doing videos. I don't DNF a lot, but maybe I can do some videos about DNFing or why I DNF books. That could be fun. I don't know. I'm just rambling at this point, guys. So thanks for coming along with me while I ramble about all the things. And whenever I write the date line, I always do the like current date, because I'm going to start this book today. So I always do the date so that I get the spacing right, because sometimes spacing can be tricky. Dates, rating. I think this looks pretty good. Pretty excited about it. The book I'm going to read, I was actually, like I said, it's an ARC that BookSpark sent to me, and I'm excited. I like when they sometimes send me some pretty good ones. So that's always, when I get those emails from them, I'm like, ooh, what do you have? And this one actually will come out February 10th, I believe. So if you see it and like it, it's not out yet. You have to wait a month or so. But I will give it a review when I'm done with it, so you can hear my thoughts on it. It is kind of like historical fiction meets modern day. I don't know what they have it marked as. They just have it marked as fiction. But we go from current day to 1609. So I'd say it's a mix of fiction and historical fiction, which that's going to make my thing of putting my little genre stamp intriguing. I'm going to have to decide, do I go off what the publisher calls it, or do I go off what I consider it to be? Ooh. That's going to be tricky. I may have to consult the book chats for that one. What do you guys think? Because to me, it is fiction, but it has like a historical fiction element. Or do I put both stamps on the genre? Maybe I do both. And then I can consider it both things? Okay, what do you guys think? Do I go off the publisher, or do I go off it should be considered? These are great questions. Very good questions to be asked. Can't decide. I'll decide when the time comes. I have to text the group chats and go, what do we think? And then double checking that it's still listed that way, because maybe they've changed it from when I got the book. Maybe it's not just considered fiction anymore. Maybe it's considered something else too. Okay, there's lots of choices here. Lots of choices. It's okay. We're going to figure it out together. Or not together, but you know what I mean. Figure it out, and I'll keep you posted on what I do decide to do. So the last thing I write on the top of the second page, I write characters or character notes, depending on which font I use. Sometimes the stencil is too big to get character notes, so I will write just characters. And if I'm reading a true crime, I normally call it case notes, just for fun, to mix it up. And then if it's a nonfiction, I normally just write notes or topics notes or something like that across the top, just for consistency of having something as a header on the second page. And that's fine. It doesn't really matter. it's just for myself. And somebody someday that ever finds this and reads it, if they ever read it. But yeah, this is just kind of my setup. Talked about some goals, so that's good. I'd love to hear what you guys have for goals in the comments. Tell me. Are you making big goals? Some people make small goals, and that's fine too. Some people are like, hey, you know what? If I read 3 books this year, that's a win. And that is totally, I didn't see this is going to be one where the font, I should have spaced it out. I should have started over on the edge. I'm not going to have enough room for notes, so this will just become characters. And it's a little off center. It's okay. Maybe I'll stick a sticker there or something. So I'm going to color it in so you can really see it. And that's pretty much every time I read a new book, I do the same setup, which is good and bad, because if you're on a roll and like really want to start a book, it's a little, I feel like I have to have the page set up before I start the book, which is kind of silly because I know I'm always going to write my character notes on the second page. I could just start writing, but it's kind of become my process to do it this way, and that's fine. And I just realized that I filmed this whole thing vertically instead of horizontal. So apologies for the bar that is going to be in the back, or that will have to be on the sides of this video so that it looks nicer. That's okay. We live and we learn. It's New Year's Day. No one's fully awake yet. All right, so journal is set. I can put this away because I've done all my headers. I still have my note-taking color. Put my stencils back so that I can find them next time I need them. And I've been putting the stencils in with the pens because sometimes if I know I'm like going to hang out at the bookstore after work and like start a new book, I want to have all my things together, and we're all book journaling together this year. Kind of, not really. We all helped set ours up together. But yeah, so there's my journal. Halfway through the year, I'm gonna have to start a new one, and I'll just keep the tracker and the old one. And I wonder, let's see. I don't know if this book will count for any. Oh, set in a place you've never been. That could be, depending where she is. That could be it for the library. Or I could cheat and just do the read any book, but I tried to save that one. Oh, if it's just fiction, if it indeed is just fiction, could be that one. I don't know if this is a debut author. I'd have to check. Some of these I'm gonna have to go back and read what the actual like prompt. I might have to print that out and like stick it in the back to see what they put. I like the one that says, you can't tell anyone. Does that mean you shouldn't tell anyone you read the book? Or does that mean that there's like a secret to be had in the book? Yeah, I'm gonna have to get the little blurb out. And then maybe I'll stick it back here on this last page, because this last page, can't use it anyway. So that may be what I do. All right, well, thanks for coming along with me, and I will see you again soon. Bye-bye. Don't forget to click that subscribe button and turn on those notifications so you can see how I do with my bookish goals in 2026.